Hello, and welcome to this highly professional tutorial on how to make your very own internet webcomic. Now, you're probably eager to jump right in and start doing something completely reckless like drawing, but hold on there, bucko. First, we need to cover the most essential part of comic creation, the backbone that holds your strip together into the metaphorical vertebrae that your webcomic is. These are your ideas. Your comic would be nothing without any sort of ideas to give it structure. First of all, your ideas should include what kind of comic you want to make. Will it tell a story? Will it be a humorous strip? Maybe it could be a romance, an action comic, or just a random mess of whatever happens to come to mind that you pass off as humor. The choice is yours. If you want to make a comic that involves an actual story with things like character development and plot, then you can just leave now. Those things actually require talent and effort, and I have no idea how to do that. But if you're an ambitious pupil of the random mess of whatever happens to come to mind webcomic category, then you came to the right place, and the next step in the idea process is to actually come up with those ideas. But that's easy, right? You can make a comic on just about anything. You know, just make it funny. Now that you know what kind of webcomic you want to make and have a plethora of ideas to go with it, can I make my character now? Of course not. First, you have to develop your own art style. But aren't your characters and your style the same thing? No! The art style is different from your character. You can make a ton of different characters, but in the same art style. Giving your character a hat is not changing the art style. Your art style is the way you draw things, not what you draw. So, to determine your art style, the first thing you need to do is draw something. Go on, draw something. You can do it. Congratulations, you've developed your own art style. It's just how you draw. Now that that's out of the way, it's time to make your character. Your character or characters will be the main defining symbol of your comic. When somebody thinks about your comic, the first thing they think of are the characters in it. Your characters are the visual portion that set you apart from the rest of the webcomics in the vast internet ocean of webcomic gunk. They set up the jokes, they tell the punchlines. They are what are associated with the humor of your webcomic. That being said, your characters need to be original, creative, unique, and interesting. Oh yeah, that's the stuff. But remember, if your characters are too similar to any of the other distinct and unique characters in any other well-known webcomic, that makes you an unoriginal copy of insert other comic artist here, and you will be called out for it. That's punishable by death in the webcomic community. It's a sin! You're going to hell! Alright, now, assuming you've successfully completed all these steps and you've made your very own webcomic, all that's left is to show it to the world. Spreading your webcomic across the internet is extremely important for exposure. There are good social media sites for putting up a webcomic like Tumblr and Twitter. There are even dedicated sites for just webcomics like Tapastic and Webtoons. There are also bad social media sites to put comics on like Facebook, because who uses Facebook for anything but relatives? And iFunny. You'd have to be a freaking idiot to start out on iFunny. God dang! And that leads us to the last and final step, which is learning how to take criticism. Let's be honest, this is the first webcomic you've ever made, and you were too impatient to wait, practice a bit, ask for advice, and now you've put it on the internet for everyone to see, like a newborn baby being thrown into New York City and being expected to care for itself. That means that you will receive criticism. Some of it will be constructive criticism, and some of it will go tell you to play in a blender, but what matters is how you take it. You can either logically consider whether the criticism is valid, and if you can build off of it to improve your work, or you can accept that death is inevitable, might as well get it over with, and be glad that there's an outlet close enough to your bathtub for a toaster to reach. Anyways, I hope all you prospective webcomic makers out there found this video helpful. If you're looking for some examples of a good webcomic, I'd like to recommend this guy called The Sea Rabbit. He puts comics up on places like iFunny, Tumblr, and Twitter. They're, really funny. Yeah. Anyway, thanks, bye.